Alright, what's going on guys? My name is Omega. Welcome back to another Apex Legends video. So today I want to talk about some things that Fortnite and other Battle Royale games have copied from Apex Legends. Now, personally, I think that it's very normal for companies to copy things from their competitors, especially in the gaming industry. I mean, to make a successful business or a successful game, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to change something about the wheel to make it a little bit better. So, I don't really care that other game companies are copying each other, but it is really interesting to see how similar some of the features Fortnite has added compared to what's already in Apex Legends. So that's why I want to talk about that in today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoy. I'm not shitting on Fortnite or Epic Games in any way because I really, don't care that they're copying this, but it is interesting just to see how blatant some of these features are and how similar they are to Apex Legends in general. So let's get right into today's video. So the first thing that I want to talk about that Fortnite basically blatantly copied from Apex Legends is Ziplines. So as you guys know, Ziplines have been in Apex since the game was released. It was really cool, addition to the Battle Royale scene, just because you could actually get from one place to another very quickly and you didn't have to run across, a wide open field or something like that to be able to actually get with your team or maybe to get to a certain vantage point. Ziplines were huge in Apex and I thought it was a really unique feature, but about 6 months later, Fortnite actually added ziplines into their game, basically doing the same exact thing for the same exact reason. Now, I can't really say that they blatantly copied it because I'm sure Fortnite had plans to do something like this eventually. I mean, Fortnite just goes out of their way to do anything and everything that they could possibly do in their game. But it's very interesting to see that, obviously ziplines came from Apex Legends. I can't think of any other game that utilizes that kind of mobility. And Fortnite, just a couple months later, added the ziplines. Basically, people were saying that it was blatantly copied from Apex, which I kind of agree, but at the same time, it didn't really hurt Apex in any way. It just kind of goes to show, how unique Apex is as a game, and the fact that Fortnite is copying some of these features means that it's doing something right. The other most popular way to actually get around the map in Apex Legends is the balloons that are scattered throughout the map, and these are a perfect way to get from one location to the other, and it's super nice because you can actually go from one balloon and probably make it to the next balloon. Well, Fortnite actually kind of did something very similar, and they added something called the Slipstream, and these are basically wind turbines that allow you to enter into the skydive mode and then to redeploy wherever you want. So kind of the same concept, they wanted people to be able to actually get around the map very fast. So, Fortnite adding the Slipstream is very similar to the Apex Legends balloons. I don't think it's as blatant of a copy because they definitely, did something different with it, but the same concept is still there, it's added for the same exact reason. Now, quite possibly one of the biggest things that Fortnite has copied from Apex was the Apex ping system. Now, obviously Apex came out with a very unique idea of being able to communicate with your teammates without actually having a microphone. That's why they initiated the pings, which allowed you to ping out weapons, enemies, items, basically anything in the map, and it's a great way to actually communicate with your team without really communicating. Well, a few weeks after Apex was released, Fortnite added its own little makeshift pinging system that was like a very dumbed down version of what Apex Legends had. Fortnite had something similar where you were able to ping weapons or ping an area for your teammates to see, but they didn't have any of the more advanced pings like an enemy was here or I'm watching this area, and they also didn't have any voice lines to go with these pings. So Apex Legends did a much better job creating the ping system, but it was very obvious that after Apex released, Fortnite saw that and they're like, wow, let's just copy that completely, and they basically just made a dumbed down version of the ping system, which many people find, kind of messed up. Personally, I wouldn't expect anything else. A huge company like Epic Games is obviously going to take any good idea that they can find, regardless of where it came from. Another thing that Fortnite has taken from Apex is the ability to respawn your teammates once they have died. So when Apex Legends was released, I think one of the biggest selling points behind that game was the ability to bring back your teammates after they died. Well, a couple weeks later, Fortnite added something very similar called the reboot vans, and these are the exact same thing as the respawning concept in Apex Legends. I mean, obviously they changed it a little bit to, make it fit into the Fortnite universe, but it's very blatantly the same exact thing. And I'm not just going to call out Fortnite on this. I think a lot of other games also copied the same way because it just makes sense in a Battle Royale game to have a chance to come back after you died. You could say that Warzone even copied this with the gulag and the ability to respawn your teammates if they lost the gulag. I think it's a great feature, so I'm not too upset about this because because I'm just surprised that Fortnite didn't think of that sooner. You know, it took a game like Apex Legends for them to realize, like, maybe people don't like dying and then just not having any chance to come back. So just a small feature there, but I thought it was very blatantly copied from Apex. Now, before I go back to roasting Fortnite, I actually want to point out something that Warzone copied from Apex Legends that not many people have really thought about, or you might not even know this, but you know, when Apex Legends was released, it was released with zero marketing whatsoever. Nobody in the world, besides the content creators who were invited out to play the game beforehand, knew about this game. It was super secret, and then one day, every single YouTuber was just uploading videos of Apex Legends. So this surprise launch really benefited the game because it just made so many people want to play it. It didn't give anyone enough time to, you know, hate on the game or to voice their opinion. So everyone was downloading the game and playing it as soon as it came out. Well, Call of Duty Warzone kind of had that same strategy, I think. Warzone was never like officially announced by anyone. The reason that we even knew about Call of Duty Warzone was because of all of the data miners and leaks that came in the months after Modern Warfare was released. So, you know, they were basically trying to do the same thing and not telling anyone that they were making another Battle Royale game. Many people expected it just because the last Call of Duty also had a Battle Royale, but there was no information or no marketing done beforehand. And I think the leaks kind of, I don't know, they may have helped Warzone because Warzone actually had more concurrent players in the first 24 hours than Apex did on its day of release. So, you know, you can say that Warzone actually benefited from that, but it was very obvious that they were doing the same strategy as Respawn. Alright, but moving back to the things that Fortnite has copied from Apex, so this one is actually a pretty recent copy. Around February 20th of 2020, Fortnite actually released the Season 2 of whatever they were doing. They like reset their season, so I don't know like where they even are right now. But during this season, they actually added something called the Vault, which you guys can probably already guess what they're copying from Apex. This vault in Fortnite is in a secret location that you need a key card to access, and inside the vault is legendary weapons, rare stuff, a lot of materials to build and stuff like that. So that's very, very similar to the vault that Apex has had in World's Edge for the past, what has it been, like 6 or 7 months that World's Edge has been a map. So that is another blatant copy. I mean, the people who were playing Fortnite were defending it by saying that, you know, the season was revolved around like spying and stuff like that, so it made sense to have like a secret vault. And you can say whatever you want, man, but I mean, this is a very just blatant copy from something original that Apex has done. So I'm very surprised that, you know, Apex hasn't been copying more from Fortnite, because it just seems like Fortnite is taking everything from everyone, but Apex is still doing its own thing. It's trying to be original, so I respect that completely. Now, I have 2 more features that Fortnite basically copied from Apex Legends, or you can say that they copied it, but the first one being hot drops. So as you guys know, in Apex, when it first came out, there were randomly parts of the maps that were considered hot drops, and these hot drops are areas that have better loot. Usually there's more people landing there, so it's a higher risk to go to a hot drop, but if you win and, you know, you survive the hot drop, you usually come out on top with a ton of good stuff. Well, Fortnite did basically the same exact thing, adding hot drops into that game, basically doing exactly the same thing, you know, having better weapons in that area and also having it be more of a high risk, high reward. It's not the biggest thing in the world that they've copied, and I don't even think that Apex was the first one to initiate hot drops. I think PUBG might have done that before. I'm really not too sure. I never followed PUBG at all, but it was interesting to see that Fortnite quickly added hot drops after it saw the success of hot drops in Apex. And then finally, the last thing that Fortnite copied from Apex, and this isn't really a huge copy. I think people made much bigger of a deal than it actually was, but in Season 8, Fortnite released the Lux skin for the final tier of the Battle Pass, and many people who played Fortnite and Apex saw the similarities of this character skin in relation to Lifeline in Apex Legends, and they definitely do look kind of similar. I mean, Fortnite has different character models and they look a little more cartoonish, but I think most people were looking at her hair and just comparing that to Lifeline's hair and kind of just thinking that, oh, maybe they just straight up copied Lifeline and put it into Fortnite for the tier 100 Battle Pass. Now, I'm not sure that was like their goal. You know, I think they probably had this character model for a while, but it's definitely interesting, you know, with all the other things that Fortnite has copied from Apex. You know, it's not too hard to believe that they would try to make a skin very similar to a popular character in a different game. Let me know what you guys think about this though. Do you guys think this character looks anything like Lifeline, or is this just people trying to stretch the truth and just make a big deal out of nothing? That basically is it for today's video. I mean, I'm sure there's probably more stuff out there that Fortnite and other games have copied from Apex, and there's a bunch of stuff that Apex Apex is copied from other games. Again, I'm not saying that this is a bad thing. The only question you can really ask is whether this is ethically right, and I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think blatantly copying things in games is morally or ethically right? Or do you think it's just part of business and the smartest way to actually retain your customers and to bring in a new customer? I'm kind of leaning more towards that because I don't really see anything wrong with it. As a business major, I understand these companies are always just trying to steal shit from each other. So that's just my perspective, but I would love to hear what you guys have to think down in the comments below. Again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Peace out.